But let me just say the date. Today is 22nd January 2012. I forgot to say that. And we are having session number 6 of MNC4. Nevertheless, my promise to you at the beginning of this course, MNC4, was hopefully at the end of it you will start to see how the word is engineered. The way you see it is not really what it is. There is a lot more behind the construct of the word that we are seeing it. So we are hoping at the end of this course we are able to deconstruct the world around us, and for that inshallah from next week or the week after, then you can gradually start to see how the world has been engineered. I always call it engineered. The engineered work, we will reverse engineer it and see it. So far to do that, you have learned about awalim. I make a couple of quick questions to make sure that you can connect things together. I asked Zulaykha to tell us how many universes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created.
2. Oh, no.
Who knows?
My team knows. 5.
My team knows as well.
Let me ask Arif Fayaz, you tell.
4.
Okay, name them.
Material, Bertha, intellectual world, and art.
Intellectual and art are the same.
Oh,
So material. Okay, so you say Zulaykha.
Material, intellect, barzakh, and Allah.
Elah, yeah, that's right. So we've got material world, which is the lowest world that we are living in at the moment. We're seeing it, we're sensing it, and then we have got imaginal world or world of universe of barzakh. Then you go higher, we have got intellectual world or world, universe of aql, which is universe of qiyamat is called as well. And then we go to universe of alam ilah, universe of ilah, which is the asma'ullah, where that universe is asma'ullah. And just one more quick question from who is sitting next to you, Shamsi? I don't know your name. Fatima. You have done awalim, yes? No, you recently joined.
She's done it. I've trained her well.
Okay, actually, all right. Do you know? Can you say in imaginal world, in the universe of imagination or universe of barzakh, what is the main difference of that with material world?
Something like that is, for example, as you go down, it gets more detailed. For example, the barzakh world isn't as detailed as the material world, and it doesn't require that.
Okay, who else can say that was not wrong, but more specifically, yes.
It's got red structure, dimension, time.
No, that's intellectual world.
Can you say the question again?
Question was, what is the main difference between material world and world of universe of barzakh? Yeah, you were to say something? Okay, what is it, Zulaykha? What did she say? Okay, what is it better?
Is it like in material world, if you're sitting next to someone, you can feel it, but then in the imaginary world, it's like being
Yeah, awesome. That is, what do you know? I don't know what it's called. This in Arabic and Farsi we call it tazahum. It's you cannot pass through. Is it opacity? Kamil? Is opacity the same thing? So in an imaginal world, there is not such thing. Things do not hit each other. They do not obstruct. They do not. You can in an imaginal world, 10 people can sit on the same chair. It doesn't matter because it's a different world. There is not this matter so that it does tazahum or obstructs other matters. And what is the main difference between world of barzakh and intellectual world, Kamil?
They know form.
Say it in full.
In Barzakh world is form and shape.
Yes.
And in intellect No image.
Yeah, Ahsan. Image. So when you go to an intellectual world, in the intellectual world, there is no image. It's all about meanings and more universal things, right? So that's it. Who remembers the grand or great paradox of matter? Who remembers that? No one remembers that? If you don't remember, I mean, if
Great paradox of matter.
great paradox of matter. Yes, yes, please. That's right, but a little bit more to it. It takes. I agree. That's the consequence of that. But say it. No, the great paradox of matter. What is that? Okay. No one remembers? Ivan, do you remember?
I don't know if it's those 7 things about matter.
No. Okay, it was very...
Such a seeding world, isn't it? The materialistic.
Diversity?
yeah.
That's what I mean, the 7 things, diversity, diversity.
No, in a nutshell, great paradox of matter was matter is the source of perfection at the same time which is the source of deception. So that was really it. So don't even go to more details, those other things come into place. So matter at the same time that what we mean by that, there is no way that we can complete and make perfection on this, the use of matter. We have been brought to this material world so that we can make perfection. But at the same time, if you don't watch out, matter can deceive you, and Shaitan will beautify the matter, and then matter becomes a source of deception, and then we fall in love with matter. All the material things. How do we fall in love with matter? Basically, our 5 senses enjoy all, because the 5 senses, if you remember, they are dealing with the material, with the matter all the time. So we make a lot of enjoyment by seeing, by hearing, by touching, by smelling, by tasting. So that is when we lose yourself into matter. I mean, not you, I mean the people who are like that. So you guys are familiar with the paradox of matter. So nevertheless, that was the other thing. So I have to repeat this. As you see, you do not recollect them very quickly, so that I can build up on this and go further. The other thing is, do you guys remember that the definition of prosperity? Let me see who else remembers that. Yeah, you.
It turns potentiality to actuality.
Yes, very good. So anything, any object, any creature of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which goes from its potentiality to its actuality and brings all those things that Allah has put in it into actual world, that becomes prosperous. Everyone knows what is prosperity? Yes, khoshbakhti, falah, najah.
This is the highest level of actuality that you reach, right?
Yeah, the more actuality one can attain, the more closer to the ultimate khoshbakhti or prosperity it reaches. Masalan, the ultimate prosperity of apple seed is when it has grown to a big tree and all the apples are hanging from that tree. That's the prosperity and best shape of the apple seed. So you remember that as well. Some of you may remember, some of you may not, because I may not have said that to everyone. This is the last thing that I want to remind you before I talk. Today's talk is the change of need with want. Do you remember? Have you spoken about this? That how? Okay. How all those people, Zulekha, don't tell me no. People who have attended MNC before, they all know about it. They have spoken about it. And I've shown video, and that is how the world around us, how those engineers of the world have changed the need with want. What does that mean? That means instead of we do things out of the need, instead of buying the clothes out of the need, we do it out of the want. We see and we want it, and we feel it's good to have this clothes as well. It's good to have this jacket as well, and we go and buy it. Instead of eating out of the need and becoming hungry because of so much of diverse looks they have given to the food processing, the processed food. So when you see, you just feel that you want to eat it. You don't need to eat it, but we eat it. And the same goes to anything. Like they have changed the world in such a way that when we want to buy a car, instead of going and buying a car which we need, we go into buying a car that we want. And what do we want it? They create it they make a lot of they use a lot of media advertisement and promotions and things, so they create demand which does not really exist. That demand is only tapping what? Our animalistic instinct, so that it makes us wanting to want that, to have that clothes, that car, that house, that all of these things. So that was another thing. So that we learned, remember, these are all going to help you understand how the world is engineered. So the need is changed to want. And you look and refer to yourselves, all of you, including myself, all of us. Look back and see, out of all the things that we do, how many of those things that we do, or we buy, or whether it's an action we do, or whether it's something we purchase, or something we eat, how many of them are out of need? You'll see a lot of times they come out of the want. So, anyway, if you put all this, I just reminded you of this, then what I want to say today is, if you notice, we human beings, we have got two types of lives. We have an animal life, and we have got an intellectual life. Animal life is the life of what you do which ultimately look after your physical being. That's animal life. Look at it. You look at what you see. Look at when you eat, it looks after your physical body. When you look at when you are hearing something and enjoying a music or those type of things, you're looking after your physical enjoyment. Look at the things that you smell, they smell very good. Although I'm not talking about haram, I'm only talking about halal even. Even when they're halal, there's nothing wrong in it. But still, it's what it does is for your physical being. It's not for your spiritual being. So animal life is to do with eating and sleeping and mating and all those sort of things. They're all catering for our physical being. So that is called animal life. And at the end, please, any question? And this, I want to mention you some of the vices of the nafs. Do you all know what is one vice of nafs? Vice. V-I-C-E. Vice. Sorry. Vice is the faults, the bad characteristics of nafs is called vice. Masalan, when someone is jealous, jealousy is a vice of the nafs, right? So, if I bring to your attention some of these vices of the nafs, you will notice that it is all to do with your material wants and your material desires. Look, for instance, anger. I want you to look at anger. Why people become angry? When we become angry, there is nothing other than it's either making you, masalan, you feel you have lost some benefit, someone has taken your money away, someone has deceived you who makes you angry, or someone has said something bad in front of people to you, disreputated you, for instance. That these are all material things. This is nothing spiritual about it. If you think that every cause that makes people angry has to do with some sort of material harm that you feel. Otherwise, that's why when you look, why prophets and imams, you never hear any story of they become angry. If there was any statement of anger from them, of course I don't remember to have read that they've become angry. They have become upset from people who being upset has been for the sake of the person himself. So anger is one of those vices of the nafs that if you notice, it has to do with your material wants. If you did not have material want, nothing would have made you angry. So anger comes from that. Or look at jealousy. Why do we become jealous? What makes us jealous? Masalan, I hear someone is doing a better teaching than me, sitting next door, and I've got 20 students and I've got 120 students, and that makes me feel jealous, right? I know you guys are not jealous, so I'm using my own example. Why? I want you to look at this. This is a material thing. Why I become jealous? Because either the other teacher who gets more students, he probably gets more money, he gets paid more, or probably he becomes more famous, or probably, I don't know, he has got more popularity. Whatever way I think about that can make me jealous at someone else doing something similar to me, that comes only from my material wants, material need. Not need, basically, my material want. So it is to do with, and as I said, what is our material life, material need relate to what life? It relates to our animal soul or our animal life. So jealousy comes from our animal life. So we are saying that we have got two types of lives: animal life, human life, or intellectual or human life. I'm talking about that animal lives of us is creating all sort of vices of the nafs. All those bad things that the nafs has comes from that animal life. So if you see someone, Masalan, buys a good house, a big house, someone in the family or a friend, she or he, I would say she because usually she's do more. Sorry, my apologies, no, but it's not the case. For men, it would be more of jealousy of somebody buys a car. But for a lady, probably someone buys a good clothes or a jacket or a house. But nevertheless, if you look at it, why people become jealous of someone else who has bought a good car or a good house or a good jacket or clothes? It's not other than that you would feel that you want that as well. If you didn't care at all about a house, you wouldn't feel jealous. If you did not care about clothes and you were only wearing the clothes because you need it, it didn't make you any jealous at anyone for that. Or if you see someone becoming rich and has a lot of money, it wouldn't make us any jealous unless we would really love to have all those things that he can provide for himself by money and by wealth. So the source of jealousy is again our animal life, and animal life is all wants and desires. And look at the other vice of the nafs, hypocrisy. You know what hypocrisy means? Everyone knows? Yes? Okay, hypocrite is someone who has got two faces. When he's here with us, he shows that he's got so much enjoying, and he likes MNC, and he's really enjoying doing Marefat Nafs studies. And then when he goes home and he sees with another set of friends, he starts to laugh at us and ridicule us and say, look at these guys, what are they doing? Alhamdulillah, we don't have anything like that here. I'm trying to give you an example of hypocrisy. So why people become hypocrites? Because again, it goes back to their material want, material desires. So it is their animal life. It is the animal life of us which drives us to become hypocrite. And we have got a lot of verses of Quran about hypocrites, or it's called munafiq. You all know what is munafiq? So another vice of nafs is called takabbur. Does anyone know what is takabbur?
Like, you're thinking and yet you're all that and you're only like the leader of your own, looking down at everybody.
Yes, yes. Takabbur comes from the word kibr. Kibr means being great and big. That takabbur means when you hold yourself great. Sorry? Yeah, arrogant could be. Yeah. Arrogant could be. I'm not 100% sure due to not knowing the technical meaning of arrogance. But takabbur is when you feel you are better than others, right? And you are higher than other people. So why people start to feel the takabbur and them being better than others? This is one of those vices of the nafs that you want to be higher than other people. You want to be dominant. You want to have supremacy over other people. This is a vice of the nafs. When good people, mu'minin, are not like that. They don't even show any good quality that they have. They even hide it from other people. But when it comes to animal life, people who are living an animal life, they would like that. They love that. They like to see higher than other people. They like to see better than other people. So these things that I'm telling you is not only so you learn it, you also, if anyone has got, because all of us, including myself, have got these vices of the nafs to a degree. But it could be someone will be more, someone will be less, someone might be more jealous, someone might be more hypocrite, someone might be more pretentious, people who do pretension. So it all goes with these vices of nafs are due to our animal life. And another one, which is I just named it, another vice of the nafs, which is one of those killing ones, is riya. Riya means pretension. Pretension, that people do riya. They make themselves look good, but they are not as good as they show themselves. Masalan, if I do my namaz, my salat, usually take 3-4 minutes at home. When I come to Husseiniya and do it in front of people, it might take me 10 minutes. That's riya. Riya is when you do things differently from when you're alone. So that's pretension. So that pretension and all those other 4-5 vices of nafs and any other vice of nafs, any other problem that nafs has, comes from animal life. So the animalistic life, which comes from the material attachment and material belonging that we create for matter, it creates those problems in our nafs. So as opposed to this animal life, what are the other things what is the other type of life that we have? It's called hayat insani. That the first one was hayat haywani. You all understand, learn this if you don't. Hayat means life in Arabic and in Farsi and possibly in Urdu as well. So hayat means life. So hayat haywani or animal life is what we are all living invariably. Don't get offended. We are all of us in different degrees. We are living our animal life and we are pursuing the animal life and hayat haywani. And it's most important to us. But the other type of life that we are meant to do that type of life is called hayat insani or intellectual life. Before I start intellectual life, let me tell you one thing that it might come to you as a question. If not now hasn't come, it may come. All those hayat haywani that I just spoke of is like eating and seeing and hearing, using all these 5 senses. There is nothing wrong in them. If they are used in the purpose of hayat insani, those actions become also, there are no more hayat haywani. They're also a human or intellectual life that we are doing. If we use them in the purpose of hayat insani. So we are not condemning or use of those 5 senses, without which we cannot even live. You have learned in Hadith Nafs at the beginning that what does animal soul give to us? Hayat, yes, life. It gives hayat. So without that animal life, without the animal soul or without the hayat haywani, you cannot even live in this world. So it is so important to have it. But how to use it is, it makes it either hayat haywani or makes it hayat insani or intellectual or human life. When I was preparing for today, I searched in Quran. I want to show you how what importance Quran has given to intellectual life. You go and do it yourself. I just give you some figures. Because really there is not time that I go and open all these verses of Quran for you. I just give you some direction or some indications and you do it yourself. You go and put the word ta'aqqul. Ta'aqqul. Te, Ain, Qaf, Lam. Right? You all know Arabic characters. I searched, I saw 24 ayahs had come for word ta'aqqul. Ta'aqqul means what? Intellectualization. You think about something, you intellectualize something. You understand something with your aql. That's called ta'aqqul. So if you search in Quran, there are 24 words with ta'aqqul. And remember, ta'aqqul is only one derivative of the word aql. There are of different types. You can search. If you search the word aql itself, ain, qaf, lam, means intellect, wisdom. I got 49 ayahs that the word aql is used in them. If you use the word ya'qilun means people who do ta'aqqul. I got 22 ayahs that the word was used in it. I used the word ta'aqilun. There are different derivatives of the same word. You put it in the Quran and you search it, you get so many ayahs. Again, 24 verses had this word of ya'qilun, ta'aqilun, aql. This all means intellectualization, thinking, pondering, using wisdom. You go and use the word fikr, thinking. You get 19 ayahs have spoken about thinking. You go and search the word albab, lob. Lob in Arabic again means use of aql, or lob means aql. So ulul albab means the owners of aql, those who have got aql and wisdom. I searched it and I got 16 verses of Quran speaks about albab, owners of aql, people who are having aql. I use the word hikmah. We all know what is hikmah? Hikmah means wisdom. Wisdom in Arabic is called hikmah. You search it in Quran, I got 20 ayahs speaking about wisdom. And I use the word hakim. Hakim means wise. 97 verses of Quran was speaking about wise. Of course, a lot of them refers to people who are wise or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hakimun khabir, Hakimun alim. So, I just gave you some statistic to tell you how much importance Quran gives to intellectual life. And intellectual life, you remember again in our studies of Marefat Nafs, the third soul was called divine intellectual soul. That was the human soul, right? You all remember? You do? You loud salawat that I know you remember. So, intellectual life is all that we have come to this world for to live. And living an intellectual life brings a certain way of life to people. So that previous examples that I was giving you for animal life must tell you, if you see any of those vices in yourself, know that your animal life is very strong and dominant. Right? But when it comes to hayat insani, human life, intellectual life, there are certain other sets of characters that one would develop. For instance, one of the things that you develop in intellectual life is you would want to understand everything. You do not just do things without understanding. If you were suggested, we were in a situation that you do something without wanting to know and you're just doing it, that doesn't speak of a human life. That does not speak of an intellectual life. If I go somewhere and I'm asked, okay, do this, that the first thing I want to know is why. Why I want to do that, right? But so you want to understand. You have not confused this issue. One of the most important answers to why is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said it, right? I say, I'm told do salat. I'm asked to do 5 times salat per day. And I don't know why. The first answer is Allah has asked me to do. That's the primary thing I start with. But I should not stop at here. I should start my salat, and then I have to start to go and understand and find what does salat do for me? What type of salats do we have? What does salat do for nafs? I'm asked to do fasting. So this intellectual life, the most intellectual person is the person who is, this is hadith of Ma'asum, he says, the most highest hikmat is fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we have fear of Allah, means what is the fear of Allah? Fear of Allah is, immediately says, you have to listen to Allah. Then gradually you start to know Allah. Once you start to know Allah, you develop, because when you want to love something, or you want to love somebody, or you want to love some idea, you must know it. So once you start with fear of Allah. Gradually you go to learn why you do this. You go to learn why you do fasting. You get to learn why you do salat. You get to learn a lot of these things. You understand all of these things. Then we start to develop love for Allah, because we get to know Him. So when someone is intellectual, wants to know why, and why it starts from your own self, knowing yourself. There are a lot of whys for yourself in you. So when an intellectual person reads Quran, he does not just read Quran. He wants to read Quran and also understand Quran. That's the sign of an intellectual person. If an intellectual person reads dua means asking from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He does not, of course, dua is there for us when we need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We do dua. We ask Him. But an intellectual person does not just read dua just for the sake of asking. When he reads dua, he also tries to understand dua. That is also a sign of an intellectual person. Okay, so a sign of an intellectual life is the person wants to be an understanding person. He wants to know. That's one sign of intellectual people. An intellectual life. The second thing in intellectual life is when you become intellectual, you start to lose. And you can see those vices of the nafs weakens. It weakens in you. Why would it weaken? How would intellectual life weakens those vices of nafs? Because when you intellectually start to understand the world around you, when you start to understand why you are come to this world, these are all intellectual stuff. When you start to know the importance of intellectual life, when you come to start to understand the weakness of the animal life and what brings you start to lose your interest to the material wants. When you lose your interest in material want, basically those vices of your nafs gradually disappear. When somebody next to you, or your friend, or your sister, or your cousin, he tells you that she has become, or he has become, a millionaire, or when you see he has become millionaire, he's earning a lot of money and he's buying big houses, good cars, it doesn't affect you, and it doesn't make you jealous. It doesn't make you, do we also want to have it? So that is how intellectuality and intellectual life affects us. It helps us gradually. Our vices of our nafs will weaken. One of the other signs of intellectual life, or hayat-e-insani, is we become selfless. Because in hayat-e-haywani, everything is around us. That means I am the center of the world, and everyone else is working. I have to satisfy my wants and my desires. That's the way animal or hayat-e-haywani does to us. In hayat-e-haywani, in animalistic life, If you become goal, everything else becomes tools, means for your goals. So you see at everyone with that eye. Do I become friend with him? He might satisfy some of my needs. Whether it's I can borrow money from him, or whether I can use him and use some of his stuff, or whether I can, all sorts of things comes to mind when it comes to for having friends, when it comes to socializing with other people, hanging out with friends, whether why we go to university, whether why we go to do anything in life, it all has to do with this. If you are intellectually grown up, in your intellect has grown up, you become selfless. You do not see everyone at your service. You do not think the whole world is made, whole people are made to serve you. You find some selflessness in you. Selflessness develops in you. If you don't have it, work on it, practice it. It's a very simple practices. There are very simple practices when you're sitting around the dastarkhan or sofre for food, and when they put there, do not take the first biggest piece of chicken in the plate in front of you and say, before anyone else takes it, I put it on my plate. Of course you don't do it. I'm just giving some funny examples, but to have conveyed the idea. Or when they put a big basket of fruits in front of us, we do not try to be the first one to take the biggest orange. Of course, it doesn't matter to be the first one to take the fruits, because anyway we have to take the fruits and eat it. But these are very simple practices. Don't take this light. You will be surprised. You will be surprised to see when you start this practice at home. When they put the fruits in front of you, you take the smallest. Try to take the smallest. Sometimes the smallest is the better, so take the biggest. Okay, depends on what fruit is there. So, masalan, I don't know, in Farsi we call it bamiye. What do you call bamiye in English? Akra? Akra. You all understand what is bamiye, okay? Bamiye for us, okay, in our culture, when I say culture, my family culture, not Iranian culture, the smaller the akra is, the better and delicious, the more delicious it is. So the moment they bring into the sofra, so I'll take all the smallest one and put on my rice. So I leave all those big ones for the people who don't like it. So honestly, let's start practice these things. Let's start to practice these things. And there are many of these. I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about. And that in everyday life, when you go to university, to school, don't think this is all about Muslims. You have to do it for Muslims or your own family. When it comes anyone, there are two seats next to each other. One is a little more uncomfortable. You do not jump and grab the more comfortable one. You grab and you jump. Make sure your friend does not take the less comfortable one. You take the less comfortable one. And you practice this. And you see, over the time, it makes a big difference in you. It really makes a big difference. So, this is an important sign of intellectual life. In intellectual people who are using their intellect, one of their things in their life they will acquire, and they have to acquire, is selflessness. And that selflessness is in everything, in eating, in food, in house, is with husband and between husband and wife, between sister and brothers, between family members. It's just with everyone it works. I will ask you some questions give me some examples of how you can practice this universality at home and at society, at the school. So anyway, these were some of the signs of intellectual life, hayat-e insani. But the most and foremost important signs of hayat-e insani are where in Quran it speaks about. Who remembers I have said it? What are the signs of hayat-e insani? Apart from these, but there's three main. Ilm, this is in Quran. Irada, will. Ilm is knowledge. Irada is will. And ability or strength. Udrat. Udrat, irada, ilm. There are three important signs of intellectual life. If one has got this tree, all the other things that I said, universality, wanting to know everything, all those comes with it. So,
Can you say them again, please, in English?
knowledge or ilm, okay? But I want you to learn the Arabic of it as well. Knowledge or ilm, irada or will, W-I-L-L, not W-H-W-E-L, because, and third one is strength or qudrat or ability. Once a person has got these three main criteria of intellectual life or hayat insani, he becomes intellectual. And if you look at that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has got that in the fullest. The fullest in knowledge is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The fullest in will and irada is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No question now at the end. And the fullest in strength and ability is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah is the mere hayat himself. Although he has created hayat, but when I say he is the mere hayat, I'm referring to these attributes that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has. He is the mere irada, he is all will and irada. Allah is all strength and ability, and Allah is all knowledge and ilm. Correct? So these, remember, I don't feel shy to tell this to you. I don't feel shy, and don't be offended. If we do not have this tree to start with, we are not on the course of hayat insani. We are not on in human life. Even if you have all the knowledge, remember, imagine you have got all the knowledge. You know everything. But you do not have the will and irada to do anything. What does that do? A person becomes like a library. Library of thousands of volumes of books is in him. But he doesn't do anything. He doesn't even get up to do his salat. So hayat is a combination of these three together. So you have to have will. Especially, I know the problem of all of us, invariably with different degrees, is will, irada. When it comes to, you got to go to MNC class, all sorts of problems comes, and that will gets weakened. Then you know how shaitan works. I've told you this before. He doesn't tell you don't go to MNC and go to a cinema, or don't or go to astaghfirullah, to a bar. Tells you, no, it is the time you have to study. You're at school. Poor mom and dad have spent so much money on you guys, and you have, instead of doing your exam, you're going to MNC. Or now is the time that you have to do the dishes for mom. She has been working the whole day, making food and everything, and now when it comes to MNC time, you feel so enthusiastic in doing the dishes. So I'm saying all the legitimate reasons comes and weakens irada. It's not only about MNC. MNC is my example because I'm dealing with you in this MNC. But in general, MNC is a forum for learning and knowledge. When it comes to other things that you have to do, test and check your will and irada. So, important pillars of human life and hayat insani is will, and I show you what in future sessions that how the word is engineered, and I show you how the way they have engineered the word for you, they have broken our wills. The only way they can engineer the word, the way they have done it, is they break our wills, our irada. There's no more irada there. There is no will. So we have, inshallah, we are aiming at finding the solutions to this. What is the solution to keep my will and irada? What is the solution to not to fall into the trap of the engineered word? So, inshallah, next week is enough for today. Next week we talk about the aspects of the life that are we have to bring our hayat insani to it. So let's get on to, what is the time? 4:35. So I give 5 minutes for question, and then I give you put the video clip, and then we give the tip questions. Bar Muhammad, Al Muhammad, salawat.